Welcome to Villains Academy, where we train the brightest, the smartest, the strongest, and the most evil of villains. We welcome you, recruits. Please tell us your name and the specialty, or the special villain specialty that you'll see. I suck at these. For example, I am Mr. Villain. I specialize in world domination. You, recruits, what is your name and what is your specialty?
My name is Father McFeely, and I specialize in BDSM, and I'm not quite sure.
I love it. It's so evil. You, recruits, what is your name? What is your specialty?
My name is Dr. Destruction. I specialize in world domination and pillow fights, but especially pillow fights.
I like it. I was going to say, I do world domination. You can't have it. But you can do pillow fights. I'm okay with it.
Part of my shtick is pillow fights too, as well. I think we're gonna get along swell.
Yes, pillow fights for everyone, but only at nights.
Kinky pillow fights, though.
Well,
Yeah.
Dr. Philly, if you're ready after this improv, we can do some Philly and some pillow.
All right, recruits. Now we must practice our evil laugh. Repeat after me. Now, all together. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Cue the music.
All right. Welcome to Don't Evolve Me, the place. Like Ash catches Pikachu, we don't evolve. We just level up. And we got a special episode today. This is the MCU Villains episode. We're talking everything Marvel villains. So what we're going to do, we have a little bit of a tribute. We're going through some channel news, through the usuals, and then we're going to do our villain draft with our guest here. Ernie is going to lose in fantasy this week, Gardner. And Tom, nerdier than you are, but not in this particular subject, Chatfield. And then after our villains draft, we're going to talk our favorite villains in the Marvel. We don't really have a special order, but we have some lists that we're going to work off of. And then after we're done with that, we are going to talk story ideas for villains of our own audio show that we might do in the future. So, before we get carried on, I want to do a little bit of tribute. So, September 2nd, I got the news September 3rd. We got some very tragic news in my family. And if you've been paying attention, I haven't really been posting TikTok videos that week. With the podcast, fortunately, I was up an episode because I took a week off. But we got the tragic news that my brother-in-law and his brother, Derek and Jake Christian, died in a tragic mini bike accident where they had a head-on collision and died on impact. It was a tough week. It's still kind of tough, but I kind of wanted to say a little bit of something about both of them before we move on, because this is the first episode that I've done since the tragic accident. And I don't know if this is going to be the first episode that has been aired, because I'm going to put a tribute in a couple of them. But this is the first one that I've recorded. So I just want to say a little bit about both of them, and then we can move on. So I'm going to start with Jake Christian. And I met Jake at McDonald's. I actually met 4 of the 5 Christian siblings at McDonald's. But the thing about Jake is he didn't work there for that long, but he made an impact. I remember working there, and just coming in like, who's this? I'm like, oh, it's Jake. And I just like hated the fact that there was somebody else named Jake in this moment. Like I was like 17 at the time. You know, I cared about like sharing a name. But I remember working with him, and we're working in the grill, and he just lightened up the mood. He just had this like attitude about him where he just lifted the spirits of everybody. And I remember that. And even in the moment where they were trying to come up with code names for both of us, because we were both named Jake. And they're like, well, Jake came in later. We'll call him Jacob. He's like, well, no, that doesn't work because my legal name is Jake. I'm not a Jacob. And they're like, okay, we'll call you Jacob then. And I was like, no, fuck no, I'm here first. I'm Jake, not Jacob. Didn't matter. He didn't work for a long time. He worked for like 2 weeks and then he was gone. He said, fuck this bullshit, and he was out. Which is very much Jake Christian. Now, 9 years later, I had this memory of him. We're in Arizona, in Flagstaff, Arizona, getting ready for Ryan Derek's wedding. And I remember coming to the table, we were all just chatting, and we were both named Jake. We sit down at the table, and his best friend was there too, and his name is also Jake. And we had a council of the Jake meetings, where we were just drinking, having a good time, and we were just talking Jake stuff. One of the first things we talked about how much we fucking hate State Farm. And it was our first council of the Jakes. I have a video of it. And we kind of dubbed our names. My name was Jake the Wise, because I was the oldest of the Jakes, and I had a gray beard. The other Jake, he was Gay Jake. I wouldn't say it was like a homophobic name, but it was more like he always wore he was a kind of a bodybuilder, was wearing like very colorful, very tight outfits. And so Jake Christian, that was his name. I let it be. And he's like, what about me? I'm like, well, you're the original Jake. You are the only one in this group who is actually just a Jake, not a Jacob. So you are Jake. And I remember that moment because the next day, I really just wanted to get drunk that entire day and just be buzzed for the entire wedding. And he made it possible. He gave me a flask. He gave me, we all shared things together. And it was just a nice moment, nice memory that I cherish of him. The last time I seen Jake was at my nephew's 1 year party. We were playing bags with each other. And he was complaining because he couldn't have my dad on his team. Because my dad's really good at bags. And I'm like, well, I'm his son. I'm sorry. I'm taking him. Like, me and him we're a pair. But we're just bullshitting. Me and him were playing against each other, and we're just talking about console Jakes. And he was talking about, because there's multiple Jakes in the Christian family. There was another one that was added. And I think there was another Jake that's part of the group. And we're like, no, there's only 3. And I remember the last thing he said to me was, your girl's a cutie pie. And that was the last thing he ever said. Yeah. So, that was Jake Christian. Great dude. Great person. Now I want to talk about Derek. Derek was my sister's husband and my nephew's father. I met Derek also at McDonald's. As I said, I met 4 of the 5 Christian siblings at McDonald's. And I remember working with him because he's a abrasive person. He's rowdy. He would call you out on your shit no matter what. And mostly in a joking manner. I think you guys would have enjoyed him. And I remember not liking him at first, but like also kind of just like being drawn to him. He had that weird charm about him where you're like, it's weird because it's like, I don't like you, but at the same time I do. And I remember when I came in at McDonald's, I was the youngest person there. Or so I thought. Because here's the thing. Derek lied about his age. He's actually 2 months younger than me. And for a good 3 or 4 months, I was the baby. I was the young person working at McDonald's. And the only reason why he lied is because he didn't want to have that role, that title. Because he had it before me, so he lied about his age. Didn't realize it until 5 years after the fact. 5 years later, he started dating my sister. And I remember, like, when she told me, I was like, why the fuck are you dating that dude? Why are you being with this person? Because I'm like, you could do better. And while there was moments in the upcoming years that proved me right, the thing about Derek is he really loved my sister. And he was a man who wanted to be better. He was a man that wanted to grow. And I watched this dude grow. I watched this man have flaws to becoming a great person, to being stronger for my sister, to being, how do I put it? Like he cared. I remember when I was going through a divorce, and how I go through my own grief is I write. So I wrote a story about what it would be like, what would happen if I jumped off a balcony. Really dark stuff. And I wrote about it. And I happened to tell my ex-wife, and she was concerned. She told my sister. And Derek just lost, or his sister just witnessed a suicide of her boyfriend right in front of him. It was that tragic story. And he did not want that to be me. So he called me, and he wasn't nice about it. He was a fucking asshole about it. He was a jerk. He was yelling at me for even thinking about it. And I had to explain to him, like, this is just me grieving. But I always appreciate that phone call because it showed that he cared. He cared in his way. He didn't want that to happen to me. He didn't want my family to go through it. He didn't want my sister to go through it. And the thing is, when I moved back to Minnesota, because I was in Illinois at the time, he was the first person there. Along with my friend Donald, who's on the show too. That's the person I moved in with. It was the easiest move of all time because between him, my dad, and Donald, and then my sisters and my mom, I didn't have to lift a single thing. It was the easiest move ever. I was just the director. I'm like, man, if this could just be a thing, this would be great. It was not. When I moved into this house, he had a push mower. And his thought wasn't, I'll sell this to Jake. I'll sell this to them. No, his thought was, not only I'm going to give it to him, I'm going to fix it up so it's safer and better for them. And they do. And he gave me a lot more. Like, that's the person who Derek became. I'm going to help you out. Doesn't matter. I'm going to make sure you're good. And I'm going to do it like in the way that is me. So, I don't know much more to say. Because I grew to love him. Like, I ended up not liking this person, and I grew to love him. He was a brother. Me and him didn't always see eye to eye. We're politically very far apart. He's like an outdoorsy man. I'm more of the nerdy. Like, I'm on a fucking podcast right now. But I grew to respect him. I grew to love him. He was a brother. And so when I heard the news, it felt like I lost family. Because I did lose family. So I'm going to stop here because I'm starting to tear up a little bit. But this is for Derek and Jake Christian. We love you. Rest in peace. We'll see you again soon. We're going to take a short moment of silence. All right. We're back. We actually took our break ourselves. I needed it. Ernie needed some water. And Tom felt lonely, so he joined us anyway.
Yeah, I don't like being left out.
We literally just left him out of the room, too. All right, so I want to do some channel news. Short videos. I don't know if you guys who listen to the podcast, I now do TikToks and short videos on Facebook. Trying to get YouTube and Instagram as well. As of right now, we're doing Marvel ratings, where I call Ernie and Donald. But I kind of want to do a lot more with it. I'm getting really excited about these short videos because I'm starting to learn it, starting to get used to it, and how to like edit them and actually make them look sharp. So I have a couple ideas I want to do. I want to do Pokemon gyms. So I've made it where like each type, I have 6 Pokemon that I would put in each gym. And I don't know, that's something that like I like to do, and I feel like that'd be a cool video. Also, the channels don't involve me. It's very Pokemon related. Also, can you guys do a mic check real quick?
Mic check.
Okay, we're good. It was just like very quiet on the lines. And Ernie, yours is always solo.
I'm right up on it, man.
It's the voice.
Ernie's a bass.
He is.
That's true. That is right.
It's hard to pick up.
That's right.
Back to the videos. I want to do other movie ratings, or we're gonna do DCU, and it's just everything I've rated so far. I want to like pick up on. But if you guys have ideas of like different movies or different things that you want me to rate that I have not done yet, please let me know. Or if you guys have ideas. Because I still have to watch the Barbie movie. And it's ready on cue. I might do that this weekend.
The Barbie movie?
The Barbie movie.
I heard it was terrible.
You heard it was terrible?
Yeah.
I heard it was amazing.
Yeah.
We'll see. We're guys. It's not even for us.
No, my wife and her friend saw it with a client, and they said it was god-awful.
Oh.
In what way? Like, what was
It
bad
just
about
was just poorly executed, really just like bad acting. Like they were trying to go a certain way with it, like, you know, like the women empowerment and everything, and they just failed miserably in the execution of it.
Okay. I haven't seen it yet, so we'll see. I've heard great things. I mean, I've heard bad things as well. I get Lego movie vibes, so that's why I want to watch it. Probably because Will Ferrell is like the big boss executive, and that's who he was in the Lego movie. Other things I want to do, villain ratings I put on here. Perfect, because we're doing villains. I have some skits and writing projects. I think I sent you guys both the thing. Tell me if you had a chance to
I have
listen
not
to
yet.
it.
I haven't had a chance to read
Yeah.
it yet.
No
My
worries.
bad. My bad.
And I'm also really into Mario Kart lately, and I kind of want to rate the tracks. And so we'll
No, I think we should rate the drivers first.
the drivers.
Yeah, I mean that's more iconic than the tracks, I think.
I agree. In a way.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Everyone's
do both.
Yeah, everyone's got their own like favorite driver and
Yeah,
everything like that.
I have a hard time like rating the drivers because I only just do Shy Guy.
It's always it's always Toad for me. Toad or Yoshi.
Yeah, Yoshi's number
I feel like
one.
there's not a lot of variation with the drivers.
Well,
I mean, there's drivers I just don't care for, but like someone, I don't know, who's me to tell you like that driver sucks?
well, I mean, honestly, the last Mario Kart that I played was the 64, and the only difference was, so they had like light, medium, and heavy drivers.
Yep.
So your heavies were Bowser, Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
They had a slower acceleration but a higher top speed, and they could actually like, if you collided with other ones, then they would
They
bump.
won.
They won and didn't spin out.
Yeah.
I mean, so there was that factor, and so like the lights were like super fast acceleration, and they could get going again. So maybe a little bit of it.
I always lean heavy acceleration because you get hit a lot and you have to like catch up.
Yeah.
Whereas top speed you can control with the drift. See, we're already diving into it. This is
Gotta
why.
stop. Gotta stop.
Other things I want to do. So episodes for the podcast. Me and Ro are doing a One Piece because I just watched the not the anime but the live action. It was great. We have an Warhammer Army episode or just mess around that we have to plan to do. We were in the middle of talks of discussing it, but then I had to step away for a week. I have Halloween episodes that I'm going to do with Sapphire. She's going to be on the show.
No.
Yeah.
Sick.
I'm trying to talk her into two of them because like we both talked about Jordan Peele. She's like, yeah, I enjoy it, but I don't love it. I want to talk about something I love. So I'm like, all right, give me your 3 like horror movies that you want to talk about, and then we'll that are also like somewhat popular too, that other people listen to it, and then I'll watch it or we'll watch it together, and then we'll talk about it. And we already have like the date planned because it's going to be released on Halloween. Because I think Halloween's on a Tuesday this year.
Yes.
And my episode's released on a Tuesday. So we're going to have our official Halloween episode. And then we have our D&D episode that we have to also schedule and plan out. On top of State of Review episodes that I want to do for Star Wars, Batman, and other shows. Or other projects. So those are channel news. All right, let's get fucking into it. What are you nerding out on? Ernie, we'll start with you.
What am I nerding out on? Well, I finally finished God of War.
Yeah.
I put 70 hours into it.
Damn.
8 of those hours came in one night.
Right, the first one, right, or Ragnarok?
Ragnarok. I'm doing Ragnarok now.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been on a run. But yeah, what am I nerding out to now? Nothing right now. I'm thinking about doing One Piece. I'll probably start watching that here soon.
All right. Or me and Ro are doing it on a Friday night, I believe. Late September.
Okay.
So that's your time frame if you want to join us.
I got number time.
It's 8 episodes. It's pretty easy watch.
Okay, cool. Still got some Marvel shows to catch up on, so that's just what I'm.
All right.
Yeah.
Tom,
Nerdier than you. What's up? What's up, Jake?
what's up?
What have I been nerding out on? I started playing Necromunda.
Okay.
So it's
What the fuck is that?
I'm kidding. So it's a a sub game. It's set in the 40K universe. It's set in the hive world of Necromunda, which is, if you guys follow like Judge Dredd at all.
Yeah.
So like the mega cities.
Yep.
Where it's just like continent spanning cities and like just
I believe there's 3 in Dread, but
right. So imagine kind of like mega cities, and then how in the mega cities there's just like it's just rife with crime and everything like that.
Yep.
So Necromunda is a gang like combat tabletop game set in the 40K universe. Nice. So you represent different gangs, which have like overall like houses that they kind of work for. So there's like Orlocks and Escher and everything like that. And so it's like a skirmish game. Instead of like having an entire army of guys like in 40K, you have like 8 to 10 gangers, and each one of them like is their own individual unit with their own guns, their stats. And we're playing a campaign, so you actually get experience and then level your guys up.
Is this a phone game or
tabletop game?
Tabletop, okay.
So there actually is the tabletop game, and then I think 3 or 4 years ago they released a video game for Necromunda too. Actually, there's like 2 or 3 Necromunda games out there.
Nice.
But yeah, it's kind of cool because you get to like make your own character, and then they level up, and you actually start feeling attached to them because they can die.
Oh.
So like your character that you've spent a bunch of credits on in time.
Yeah.
Like can just, if you roll on, because if you get knocked out of combat, you have to roll on an injury, so you can get like a spinal injury or head trauma, and it like reduces your total stats and everything like that. So it's pretty fun.
That sounds fun. All right, what am I nerding out on? I mean, fantasy football. Football just started. I play Ernie this week.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. I guess you could say that too. Yeah, that's right, man.
I play you. By the time they hear this, the result of that match is either going to be like over. No, it'll be over.
We got some Sunday nighters in there, I think.
Well, I mean, like this episode is either releasing this Tuesday.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Or 2 weeks from now. So
I think you're gonna beat me. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean,
not looking good.
I'd hope so. I have 10 points projected over you.
Yeah, something like that.
And Tom is checked out of the conversation. I'm just messing with you. Actually, in another league, that's what I was on my phone for. I was like, oh, wait, is Aaron Jones out? Because I have to replace him with my IR person.
That's what I was kind of checking on mine, too. But, yeah, man, I'm on your ass, though. I'm not going to give up. Let's get it. Like,
oh, yeah.
I lost by, what was it, like 0.0?
Yeah. So the meme for, so Tom, I think you might find this funny. So there was a meme where Matthew Berry, the famous fantasy football, like the most famous fantasy football person in the world, Matthew Berry, was sharing this story about what happened to this guy, where he only needed Aaron Rodgers to complete one pass. One pass for 2 yards. Mm-hmm. He needed 0.04 points. He had a 99% chance of winning. Aaron Rodgers has 4 snaps, gets hurt for the rest of the year. He loses by 0.04 points. And I see this immediately. I'm like, oh man, that's hilarious. That would suck. And I look in our league, and I look at Ernie's matchup, and he lost by 0.04 points because he had Aaron Rodgers. Yep. It didn't quite work the same because the other guy who I actually had a conversation with 2 days ago, he had Dalvin Cook playing. But it worked out. It was like the same. I'm like, oh, man, that sucks. Mm-hmm. You had it in the bag. I had you mentally just won that game.
I did too.
And I look, I'm like, wait, oh.
I know how we were talking last year about fantasy football. My luck, that is literally my luck when it comes to fantasy football. That is what constantly happens to me. Yeah,
well, I always get the best team every week. Mm-hmm. The first year in our league, the medium is 130 points. That's the average that everyone scores. Mm-hmm. But my first year was 114 points was scored against me. Mm. Like I had the best points against for everybody. I was 12-1 that year. The next 2 seasons, 140 points. Won the championship the second year on a 7-7 record because my team was still pretty good. Mm-hmm. Last year my team was so-so, missed the playoffs. First game, 146 points. Well, like, God damn it, this better not fucking happen again. What else I'm nerding out on? One Piece, as I've been watching lately. I finally gave in, watched it. Or at least the live action. It's great. It's a good time. It looks like it's not great, and there's moments where it doesn't look good, but I don't know, the characters, the acting, I'm sold. Now I'm gonna start watching the anime, and then me and Ro are gonna have an episode that Ernie may join us on. And just different story ideas too. I have the idea of doing an audio story. I was telling Tom and Ernie I want to do it based on Fallout specials, where each character has like a strength in one of the specials. So like strength, perception, agility, charisma, and endurance. And luck is the last one. And I had a character of luck. Like, imagine having a character who had like a horrible, tragic thing happen to him in the past, like as a child, and the only way the way they cope from it is with the idea that, hey, the worst, like I already had the worst thing that could ever happen to me. All the bad luck that could ever happen in my life happened in one moment. So from here on out, I will always be lucky. And it just happened. He just happens to be lucky throughout his entire life. Like everything just happens to go his way. And that's kind of like my basis of a character that I have. So let's go into a little bit of a news. Aquaman trailer finally came out. It actually looks good. Did you guys watch any of it?
I've not seen it yet.
Black Manta is like the villain of this one. Like it's a revenge story.
Okay.
And I don't know why. Like it just gives me like the, ooh, this is good. Like I'm actually wanting to watch it.
Like a dark feel, like more of a dark kind of.
Yeah, like it gives me like a dark epic. There's him and Ocean Master are teaming up against Black Manta. And I'm like, I don't know why, but like I actually have high hopes for this movie because of the trailer. But I will say this: DC is actually doing really good with the trailers. The movie's just kind of not that great. The Flash trailer was pretty great. That movie, it was great, but then rewatching it, it's like doesn't fit that appeal. Okay. Spider-Man 2, they just released their trailer or their new gameplay. That game looks fucking amazing. They have 65 costumes.
Really?
For like all the characters. And then the main villains. Oh, I even wrote it looked amazing. It looks spectacular. Like the ultimate Spider-Man game. Okay. Kraven's the main. Kraven and Venom are the main characters. Lizard's in it. It just looks like a fun game. I'm excited for it. And it's like Grand Theft Auto 5 where like you can be Peter Parker or Miles Morales and you can just switch it in an instant. And it's literally just instantaneous. It looks kind of cool. And then Mortal Kombat 1. I fucking hate when games do this. I hate when like they like reset like it's the 1. It's like, no, it's not. It's 12. It's game 12. Can you just call it 12 or can you just give it a subtitle?
They reboot it, so.
What was it, the 4th time they rebooted Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, something like that.
And then you have Xbox, who just can't get off the 1 number.
Yeah.
Xbox 360, where in math it's 1 rotation. It's also 1. Xbox One. It's like, man, just keep it simple. Xbox 2. Xbox 3.
Why would Microsoft do that?
Why make it not confusing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's Microsoft.
I think PlayStation had it right. PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4, PS5, and then we're going to go 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever. Or you can just buy a PC and not worry about it.
Yeah.
All right. Fresh takes. I just played Spider-Man again. Spider-Man was my way of coping. We had Scott with. I'm like, we and you have to do something together. I'm just going to play Spider-Man. I'm going to dive in. And he watched. It didn't last long. He went off and do his own thing. I thought he would be really into it because he loves Spider-Man. So, Ernie, you played Spider-Man?
A little bit.
I know you're not the biggest Spider-Man person.
No, but I do like the games.
The game is great.
Yeah, the games are fun.
It's a 4+ actually. Okay.
Most Spider-Man games are good. I haven't finished one, I'm not gonna lie, but they're pretty good for the most part.
I haven't played Miles Morales, which is a game that I want to play. Just never took the moment to buy it and play it. It's fun though. It's a great story. It's a story that makes me cry because like the villain Yeah, I'm just saying, Doc Ock is the villain, and he just like it's such an emotional like he's a mentor, but he fails Peter Parker. Yeah, it's just an emotional story. The story's great, gameplay is fun, it looks very cinematic. All right, 30 minutes in, we're finally into villains.
Be typical fashion.
Yeah, it's typical true. Don't Involve Me fashion. We might change this for year 2.
No, we're always going to be long-winded.
It's good. I think it's a good thing, personally. But,
yeah. All right. You guys ready to do a villain draft?
What?
Yep, I got me a custom draft board and everything.
Oh, do you?
No, I wrote it on a Samsung Note file.
I thought... Oh, okay.
Do you know?
What the fuck do you think I am, Jay?
I did make myself a custom draft board into the outline.
Do you think I am some sort of sports baller that knows how to do the... Okay, so... Funny story. We got to go into this a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I'm texting Jake, and I'm just like, what's a draft board? Like, what do I need to do for this? Like, and he's, like, laughing at me, and I'm like, come on.
Well, you said...
Definitely not nerdier than you in that aspect.
You're just like, don't laugh at me. And I sent the GIF. I was like, man, maybe a little bit.
It's a little bit.
Just a little bit.
I mean, fine, yeah, I guess whatever.
And then you were like, I will make fun of you when we do Warhammer. I'm like, please do. Yeah. Please make fun of me because I know shit.
That's right. Nah, but yeah, a little bit of funny story behind that. But yeah, no, I mean, I figured it out. For my defense, I've done one fantasy league ever in my entire life. I think we went over this in a pod one time.
I think so.
Yep.
It's a simple concept, right? You just make a list. I said 15 because that's the amount that's getting drafted. We're just doing 5 each, a team of 5, and we're doing snake. So we are kind of explained it before. You know, whoever goes first has to wait like 5 picks until they go again. Who goes third gets third and fourth pick.
Yep.
So
I just was actually confused because I thought we needed 15 people on our team. So I was like, I do not know 45 villains in the MCU.
No, we weren't going.
So I was like, man, this is in depth.
We're not going that in
Your
depth.
homework for paying me my really hefty wage here for being on Don't Involve Me is getting too much.
I agree. That was a lot. I stick with the 5. So, and because you guys, I knew what the scenario of this draft board is going to be like. I'm going to give you guys the pick of which order. And Tom, I'm going to give you the first pick, but you don't have to. Let me go through the rules first. All right.
All right.
So here's the rules. It has to be a villain from an MCU film or television show.
Okay.
And I'm really strict on the rule of villain.
That's all I was going to ask you.
Yeah. Only one variation of the villain can be claimed. So, for example, Kang has thousands. You can only pick... When you pick Kang, you just get Kang. You probably get an Ant-Man Kang. You can go He Who Remains if you want to. We'll talk about him later. The villain has to be a villain in the movie/show, and it can't be a villain off screen. For example, it can't be Carl Mortar from Doctor Strange. Because even though he's an antagonist of sorts, he's not a villain. But he is a villain in the MCU, but he's not a villain in either of the movies. Because we don't know what his power is. We don't know what's his capability.
Question, you might answer this as you're going on.
Yeah.
I'm just going to ask it anyway. Actually, no. Continue, and then if you say it, I'll leave it alone.
Okay, I have 2 more rules.
Okay, go ahead.
And we can talk about it too. So, like, if there's a scenario I did not come up with, and you guys are like, hey, I want this person, we'll talk it through and see if it counts.
Okay.
Villain, or rule number 4, villains only has weapons that are part of them from the beginning. Weapons cannot be something that obtained in films/shows. So, for example, Thanos doesn't have the Infinity Gauntlet. Mm-hmm. Infinity Stones in general are probably off the board. The only one I was like, on was Loki and the Scepter. But we're just going to wipe it out. Other examples is Scarlet Witch in the Darkhold. Or Whiplash in his suits of armor. And if you have questions, we'll talk it through. And I have one more rule. What if villains do not count?
Oh, okay.
So there was this animated show called What If, and they do alternative stories on the heroes that are in the MCU. And there's one in particular that breaks all like space and time, which is Infinity Gauntlet Ultron, who would just win in every scenario, or it don't count. All right. Does that make sense? Any questions?
All right, one question. Can we include people that have been villains and heroes? So can we Wanda Maximoff versus Scarlet Witch? So can Scarlet Witch be one of them?
Yes, because she is a villain. Okay. But Iron Man does not count. Because Iron Man is not a villain, he's an antagonist.
Okay. So like Bucky Rogers or the Winter Soldier, we could pick too.
Yes, because he was a villain. Loki, yes.
Okay, got it. Perfect.
You can pick them.
Okay, that was a lot of those were mixed ones for me because I was like, well, they're technically both, but okay, they're on my list.
That's why I was like, it has to be a villain and one or the other.
Okay.
As long if they start out as a villain, it works. Other ones that don't count, Hawkeye, because technically he gets brain controlled, doesn't count. Yeah, but like he serves that role.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
All right, ready for the scenario? I'm excited for this one. I think you guys will like it. All right, scenario: a godlike being. If we want to get specific, we'll just say eternity. Says to your group, complete this goal together, and each of you will have the thing that they truly want. Essentially, what we're saying is they are loyal to their cause and working together. We're not getting into like Loki will probably turn on the group at some point because that's what Loki does. Loki has the motivation to stick and work with the group. All these villains, they're going to work together as a group. That's how this draft's going to work. So you ready for the goal? Mm-hmm. Drum roll. The goal is to kill Cassie Lang.
Well, that's easy.
A.K.A. Stature. Ernie, you okay? He's about falling off the chair.
Why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't it be? Okay.
So the scenario is when the group first attacks her, Ant-Man and Wasp will be there to protect immediately. Mm-hmm. Shang-Chi, since he's in San Francisco, will be there within minutes. The Avengers will be there within like 10, 20, 30 minutes. Let's say 30 minutes. You have to create a team that will kill Cassie Lang and be able to hold the Avengers if need be. Right. Since I knew the scenario, I will be the last. I won't pick what order I go in. Tom, since you are the filthy casual, I will let you pick your draft order.
Okay.
So you can be first, second, or third.
Let's go first.
First? Ernie, where are you going?
I'll go last.
Okay. I figured I was going to go second, which is like arguably the worst one. But I'm okay with that because I created the scenario.
All right, so question. You said only stuff that they start with in the films. Nothing that they've gained.
Yes, and if you have a specific question about it.
Like does Thanos have his entire army? Because he starts with that in the films.
I didn't think about that.
This is the way I went. I went with like the different like dimensions or sub realms and things like that, and like what we needed to do. So I was like, okay, so a Thanos or an Ultron is going to have an army with them. Mm-hmm. Right, so that is really good for the material universe, and I'm like, okay, so in the, in the quantum realm, who's the most powerful there, who has the biggest push, and then I was like, all right, in the magic realm, who do I got?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So if we're going with Thanos having an army, okay.
Yeah, he has an army, but however, like he only works with the other 4 villains in your team. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
So is it individual? Is this like a kill team?
Yep.
They're going in. They don't have their extra. So they technically don't have their extra.
They can use their army, but they can't use their army to attack Cassie.
Okay.
So, like, for example, if you wanted to like use the army to distract, you could. That could be part of the tactic.
All right.
That would be a great villain tactic.
We are going to draft Thanos first.
Yep, that's what I figured.
It was either Thanos or Ultron for the material realm, and so I was like, okay, so we got a material realm battle going on here. Those are my big ones for that.
Ultron's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, he's also got an army, and he can infect stuff, but I think Thanos just has this big world-ending army.
Yep.
So we're going to draft Thanos.
He has multiple armies, if you think about
Yeah.
it. He does not have the Black Order in this one, though.
Yeah. So Thanos' army will be distracting. They will be fighting all the police and emergency services and militaries and stuff like that. And probably, I would assume, would be able to take... Who'd you say Shang was in San Francisco?
Yeah, Shang-Chi would show up.
So I mean...
Within...
a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I think, he's a good... I guess I didn't watch the films, but I don't know if he's... whole army worth of beating people up.
No, he maybe has. Well, he has the 10 rings now in this scenario, so he could probably hold off 100 of them.
Okay,
but he ain't. I don't think he holding off Thanos.
Yeah, and then plus Thanos technically has his like lieutenants and stuff like that. So,
so I'm having a hard time with number 2. I'm going back and forth between 2 of them.
What, 2?
Kang or Scarlet Witch? Because like Wanda can literally just change reality, and Kang has the ability to go through time. But he also in the movie had a chance to kill and did not, even though he massacred like tens of hundreds of people. But then when the villains show up, he just magically didn't have that power. You gotta love the writing. Oh, and he also got his ass kicked. I'm gonna pick Scarlet Witch then. I think she just pulls her flexibility is scary.
Yeah.
She can attack it in multiple different ways, and I feel like with her you can add a bunch of different villains to the team and she can make them work. Ernie, you're up with 2 picks.
My number 1 pick, I'm gonna go with Hela.
Ooh, okay.
I love Hela. She's probably actually my favorite villain. She could probably do all the groundwork by herself. Take anyone on the ground level and just do it all herself. She could probably take out at least 100, 200 people by herself.
I mean, she could just raise an army of the dead.
Yep, she got Army of the Dead.
So
and
everyone,
a big ass wolf.
yeah, and big ass wolf, and the fact that she has spikes in general. However, she's not in Asgard though.
It's true.
She's not as powerful. She's still pretty powerful though.
I mean,
She
she's
did
not
break.
as powerful, but I mean, like, even when she was on Earth, she was still.
Yeah, she still kicked Thor and Loki's ass. But I think that's more of a fair fight on Earth between her and Thor. But that was still pretty freaking powerful. All right, who's your number 4?
I think I'll do Ultron.
Ooh, okay. Ultron, yeah, you have a whole army.
So I would have gone Scarlet Witch or Wanda if you didn't pick her. So
Yeah.
But
Well, I'm happy with who you picked, so I'm going to pick Kang.
yeah, okay.
actually,
Yeah. I mean, like, I was, arguing between the 2. I'm like, okay, well, if Ernie's not going to take him, I guess I'll take him. Kang is arguably... I actually have him number 1 on my draft board. Because he is technically more powerful than Thanos.
Technically, yeah.
I mean, he didn't make a whole TVA where they're like, hey, look at all these Infinity Stones that we have in our drawer that they're useless. It's like a, tongue-in-cheek, like, hey, look at all the powerful thing everybody wanted, but it's useless here. But that is Kang for you. Master of Time. Tom, you are up.
all right. So I got my physical realm taken care of. I need some mystic arts up in here because I feel like if I don't draft somebody from there, you're going to be losing out on that aspect. And I feel like, Strange, and there's a lot of mystic arts nonsense that can be going on here in order to kill Cassie.
I feel like I know who you're going to pick.
So you took Scarlet Witch, which would be obviously number 1.
Yep.
But I am going with Baron Mordo.
I don't think Baron Mordo works.
Why? He's in the MCU.
Okay, so I did say Carl Morrow. So this is why Baron Mordo is that weird one where I want to include him, but with the rules that we have, he is never a villain on screen.
Okay. Fine.
I will say, this is who I thought you were going to pick, Dormammu.
I don't know him.
Dormammu? First Doctor Strange film. He is like the biggest of big bads of mystical arts for villains. Baron Mordo, Caecilius was the villain in the first Doctor Strange film. He basically took over the Baron Mordo role. Because I think there's an anime movie where it's a very similar plot. He is the assistant who gets Dormammu in the world. But in MCU, he doesn't.
Okay.
But Caecilius and Dormammu are both on the board.
Okay. Then, yeah, if Baron's not on there, I put Caecilius because he was his protege.
Yes.
So then Caecilius.
Okay, Caecilius. I don't mean to take him off. This is where we get, like,
See, but, like, I looked him up, and they showed pictures of him, like, the actor and everything that.
He should have been the villain in the last one. He just never played the villain role. And this is where, like, semantics get into it. Yeah,
okay. So I had my backup then.
All right, what's your next one?
Yeah, do I pick 2 now?
Yep. That's how the snake draft works.
Okay, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Okay, what do I want next? I mean, we got some gods up in the Avengers. So we need something to be able to kill gods.
Yep.
I'm taking Gore.
Oh, nice, good one. I have him 10. Gore's good.
Because I was thinking, I was like, I got my big 2 areas covered for defenses for that, and so I was like, I need something that can kill unkillable things.
I would say he gets the Necro Sword in this too.
Yeah,
because the Necro Sword makes him the villain.
Exactly.
So this is where it gets. The rules get weird here.
And plus, in Love and Thunder, he had the Necro Sword at the beginning of the film. So, going by those rules,
Gore is. They wasted him as a villain. We'll get into this.
Christian Bale was great as
he was wonderful.
He was great. Gore's a great villain. They
underutilized him in that film.
Very much. He's on a list. All right, I'm up. So my draft board says Dormammu, but I have Scarlet Witch. No. My draft board actually has something else. I'm doing Eric Killmonger. And here's why. He's arguably probably the greatest mercenary villain that they have outside of maybe Winter Soldier.
I have a different mercenary soldier on my list.
I'm curious to hear it. Save it, though. Okay. But I think Eric Killmonger, because he just gets shit done. Like, I know What If doesn't count, but in What If, when they take down Ultron, he takes over. He essentially becomes, like, the most powerful being in the universe. And I don't know. Killmonger, I'm like, if I want to kill somebody, I'm hiring Eric Killmonger, because he's going to get it done. And also, Scarlet Witch, Kang, they're going to hold off everybody. Like, those two teaming up, they're going to hold off the Avengers. I want that person that's going to, like, make the kill right away. Like, he's like the X factor. The sleeper you don't think about. The one that you don't worry about, but he's going to get the job done.
Okay. But he's just a human, right?
Yeah. He is just a human.
So are we... Okay, so... Is this Killmonger with Black Panther powers?
Ooh, no.
No, because technically he doesn't have it at the start of the film.
No. Good. I didn't even think about that. No, he would not. I'm taking regular old human Eric Killmonger here.
Okay, yeah. Solid soldier, mercenary.
I think you'd honestly kick Ant-Man and Wasp ass in action.
Probably.
Like, I think you'd figure it out.
And he could solo any of the other human Avengers. So, like, he could solo Scarlet, or he could solo Black Widow, he could solo Hawkeye.
Yes. I wish I was able to see that matchup, because that would have been fun. But yes. Okay. Ernie, you're up. You have 2.
Oh, man. A lot of my people just got picked. I wanted to kind of freestyle this one. Okay. I'll go Doc Ock.
Okay.
I think
this one It works too.
Yeah.
I was expecting Spider-Man questions. Mm-hmm. They are villains in the universe, so it works.
Mm-hmm. That will go Doc Ock. You took my Killmonger. You took my Gore. So I'll take Loki. We said Loki's good?
Mm-hmm.
I'll take Loki.
Loki, all right. Who do I want as my fourth? I got some powerhouses. Like Kang is gonna keep things. Kang and Witch are gonna keep things occupied. Killmonger is my kill shot. I'm debating between a couple of them. I think I'm gonna do Abomination.
You fucker.
Because I don't have power yet. And if I can just bring Abomination in San Francisco, that's going to keep things occupied. Tom, last two picks.
You took my Hulk counter. Because I was like, there needs to be an evil Hulk version. I was like, yep, Abominations.
And Red Hulk's not technically available.
True, not on there.
Wait. I don't think Hulkling works either. Did you watch She-Hulk?
No.
They reference him, he shows up, but then they retract it. I'm like, wait, how's that work? There is a couple villains on here that fit that role pretty well.
Okay. Not on ones that are. You can only pick from the ones that are on our draft board, right?
You can pick whatever villain that works that's in the MCU. If it's not on your draft board, that's fine.
I guess I didn't really know any other really big punchy villains.
Do you want some help?
Sure.
Okay. Because I kind of just wrote them all down. Punchy villain. The one that I would say is, I don't even know if Ernie would have him on his board. Curse. From Thor Dark World, who kicked Thor's ass. He'd be a pretty good one. Cult Obsidian from the Black Order. Okay. He's the big dude from Infinity War. Also would be pretty good on that list. You also have Thanos too, who he's much more than a Hulk, but he's almost more hulkier and
so I'm actually covered with that already because I have Thanos already.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you have Gore too, who is just
Alright, since you took away my genetic manipulation of having Hulk Super Soldier, let's go with the next best thing that probably has not equivalents, but things that can match the brawn because of genetic engineering. We're going with the High Evolutionary.
Okay, nice. I was wondering, I don't know if I was going to pick him. He's on my draft board, but I was hoping he would get picked. High Evolutionary, nice. All right. And your last pick?
Just because of Rule of Cool, and I fucking love this guy, and I want my mercenary that can go off people. Crossbones.
Ooh, I didn't even have him on my list.
Because he's got heavy armor, that fucking cool, skull mask, and a pneumatic fucking power fist, plus lots of guns.
He technically kills Captain America in the comics. I like it. All right.
See, and he's kind of like a main Captain American villain, so somebody that can hold up to Captain America.
Yeah.
And take,
Okay.
Because also Rule of Cool, because he's just really cool in the, Winter Soldier that he's in?
Winter Soldier in Civil War. Okay, so I have Scarlet Witch, who can probably distract the Avengers for a while. She could also, she also just straight up murdered the in Doctor Strange, the sequel. I'm blanking on the order that.
I forget.
Help me, Ernie. I can't think of it.
I'm trying. Oh my god, that's gonna bother me.
It's bothering the crap out of me because I can't. It's like the Secret Society, but I forget the actual name of it.
Yeah, I can't think of it. I can't.
Wow. All right, we are failing here at Don't Evolve Me. But all right, so I have Scarlet Witch, her and Kang, they could just be their own team. Mm-hmm. Like they're that great. Eric Killmonger's a great shot. Abomination is just another physical distraction. I'm trying to figure out what I need here because I can go with crowd control, but I have that with Scarlet Witch. I have that with Kang, and then I have the big beef dude with Abomination. So I'm trying to think what I need. And it's tough with the last one. And I'm going through a bunch of different names. I'm thinking one on my list is Ebony Maw, which I think is very underrated. He's kind of a sorcerer of his own right because he can just manipulate matter in a matter of speaking. Electro is another one, especially depending on the type of Electro. If he can like go through wave currents, quick, easy kill. But I'm trying to think too. This is Cassie Lang's stature. Someone small. So we need someone who can deal with that. You know what? No, I'm going with Ebony Maw. I think that works really well. Because if she escapes, I feel like he can manipulate matter in a way that would capture her. If she goes small, he'll just take the earth below and capture. And probably crush. So I'm going to go Ebony Maw. I think his versatility works well. And could crowd control the Avengers if need be. Ernie, last pick.
I like that Ebony Maw pick. Let's see. Okay, I'm blanking on his name. From the first Guardians. Ronan. That's it.
Ooh, Ronan's really good too.
I like Ronan. I'm gonna take Ronan.
He was also on my draft board.
Ronan also has the powers? No, does not have the powers. So.
No, he does not at the start. But still super powerful. Ronan would be tough. The only downside is Captain Marvel shows up. She's fucking everybody up.
That's true.
She is a part of it. All right, so let's talk about through our teams a little bit. How are you guys feeling? Are you guys killing Cassie Lang?
Oh, I think so.
I mean, Tom's team, this is who is going after Cassie. We have Thanos.
Yep.
Which, just if you have Thanos coming after you, you're probably dead. You have a whole army going after you. Thanos is just, in general, tough to stop. Then you have Caecilius, which you're going to use dark magic, portal, like, he can portal in immediately. And
then you got to remember the synergy, too, so he can portal in Thanos directly into Cassie's room.
On top of Gore, on top of High Evolutionary, on top of Crossbones. High Evolutionary has an army full of, like, genetics. He could probably make miniature things to kill Cassie. Mm-hmm. Gore is just tough in general.
Because he's taking out the gods.
Yeah.
He's got that sword that can kill anybody.
And I feel like he just doesn't care who he kills. He, like, captured children and was ready to kill them.
He's like Ernie. He just wants to kill children. Jokingly, of course.
Joking. Oh, man. Please don't tell everybody what your profession is. Crossbones, mercenary. He's the underrated one. Mm-hmm. Ernie, talk about your team. How are you feeling?
I feel good. I think they'll get the job done, but not necessarily how I wanted it to. But I think they'll still get her.
I mean, you got some powerhouses. I mean, Ultron in general.
Oh, pretty much, yeah. She could probably get her herself if he wanted to.
I mean, Doc Ock's a pretty physical, and he's smart. You have essentially the leader of the Sinister Six to kind of help. Him and Ultron and Loki. Actually, the whole group is going to be fun. Yeah. Like, teamwork is going to be really, really important. Mm-hmm. I can't imagine.
But they can get it together. I think they'd be all right.
Loki, I feel like might dip if need be. Mm-hmm. And Ronan's also a powerhouse.
I got a question for both of y'all.
Yeah.
Who would you feel would be the leader of your team on each one?
Oh.
For you, I feel like it'd be Thanos.
Yeah, Thanos.
It has to be. Yeah. Mine's Kang. Or, yeah, I think it's Kang. Killmonger is also a really good one, too. Mm-hmm. But I think Kang just fits the leader role. Okay. For my team, I'm feeling pretty good because Scarlet Witch just her in general. She doesn't have the Darkhold, so she doesn't necessarily have an army. But her just reality matter, like manipulation in general, is like she could just make a reality where like everybody thinks a certain way, and then she just kills Cassie just right there. Kang is just tough. He's arguably the most powerful being on this list. Eric Killmonger is arguably the best killer of all of Marvel, which I think is going to be. Which is a cool subject of who's the best like mercenary. Who like if you had to send someone to kill, who would you send? I think he might top that list, even with him just being a basic human. Abomination is just he's good distraction, and Ebony Maw has the matter manipulation that might be able to help on top of Scarlet Witch. Like having to deal with both those on the same team. But I think King's the leader, if not Eric Killmonger. Either or would be great. Good. All right, we'll have to put a poll out and see who wins. Goal: kill Cassie Lang. These are our teams. Who is most likely to have a victory?
You should also say like who would think would be quickest and most violent.
Yeah, like the winner would be the quickest, most violence. I was thinking quickest death. You're like most violence. Who would have the most torture?
Exactly.
Oh.
I mean, poor Cassie. That's easy. That's an easy goal. Poor Cassie. Honestly, like
we're going for a quick death. You're going for fucking torture.
I mean, if we're saying like, you know, we got one reinforcement within 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Literally, it's just going to be, Caecilius is just going to open a portal into Cassie Lang's room, and Thanos and Gore just jump out and go.
Yeah. But I mean, I feel like there has to be the counter of it is MCU rules. So plot armor.
Oh, that's
yeah. Then no one wins.
Yeah. Then she lives.
She should arguably been dead in the last film.
Shit. Honestly, I mean,
most of them should be dead.
Honestly, like one of our mercenary villains alone could be enough to kill Cassie Lang.
Yeah.
Okay, does she have the Ant-Man suit now or something?
Yeah, she can shrink. She has base. I think she also has. She doesn't have the power of Wasp, right? It's just Ant-Man powers. Okay, I think in the comics she might also be like a mixture of both of them. But yeah, she is basically just Ant-Man.
See, we're also gonna wait till she's on the shitter, and then there's just a portal in the bathroom opens and wink, done.
Yep. Oh. I mean, Bullseye's another one. If he was technically part of the MCU, he would have been on my list. Mm-hmm. And that's where it's like, does Netflix count? Because they do talk about like the Battle of New York.
Yeah. But
it's not technically part of the MCU.
I'm just disappointed that we couldn't do any Deadpool.
Oh, you wanted Cable for
I wanted Cable. Yeah, I wanted Cable as my mercenary.
Yeah, that one's tough because like if we were to include Deadpool because he's coming into the MCU, we would have to include X-Men.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else we have to include. We have to include all the Spider-Man villains too that don't appear in the MCU.
Wasn't there something in Deadpool 2 that linked them to the MCU?
Yeah. He goes back in time. He gets Cable's time travel device, and he's able to like go back in time and stuff. And he ended up killing himself.
Oh yeah.
He ended up killing Ryan.
Killed Ryan Reynolds when he read the Green Lantern skit.
And he killed his bad Deadpool self. And he's like, hi. to like Wolverine.
Yeah.
So we'll redo this when we have more villains to do it. So this is fun. And we'll do a different scenario too. All right. You guys ready to talk villains?
Yeah.
Do you have your list? How should we do it? Should we do top 5 villains, top favorites, or should we just talk about villains that we enjoyed?
Do a little bit of both.
All right. Huh? All right. Before we do that, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be back. All right, we back. Talk villains. And we're just going to talk about some of our favorite villains. And so I made a bunch of lists of the best villains I think are in the MCU. Some of my favorite villains, some of my favorite worst villains, and that list is big. And villains I want to see, which is, I think I got to 18. And villains I just want redoing in general. But I think we should just talk some of our favorite ones that we like. Who wants to start?
I'll start.
All right, Ernie.
All right. So, I think my number one, I think I said it earlier too. I think my number one favorite is Hela. I just love her conviction, and I just love her violence.
I do enjoy Hela. I feel like Ragnarok doesn't set up Hela well enough. Mm-hmm. And there's some villains on here where I'm like, they're great. They just need better setup. Mm-hmm. And Hela, I think Hela is just in a movie that's just really, really busy, so she doesn't get a whole lot of time.
That's true.
But when she does have time,
it's good.
He's good.
Yeah.
Kate Blanchett plays her, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Her army, the look, the wolf. Like, I just want to know more about it.
Right. I love her.
Do you think she's dead?
No.
You don't think Hela's... I mean, I feel like they could write her back pretty easily.
I don't think she's dead. It's hard to kill her.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Loki fell off the waterfall and somehow survived.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm assuming she's still alive. Mm-hmm. Also, we never said Surtur as a villain for our draft.
Oh, yeah. Very true.
Ragnarok fire dude. Mm-hmm. But I'm pretty sure Surtur would just destroy Earth.
I mean, it'd kill Cassie in the same
way. Yeah, that's true.
Goal achieved.
Yeah.
But I think his only goal is like to make Ragnarok happen. Mm-hmm. Like that is his whole purpose, and he's already had his purpose. So I'm curious what Surtur's like new goal would be.
It's true. Yeah.
That was a good one though. She's up there. I just wish there was more time.
Mm-hmm. She might come back. You never know.
Yeah.
2, I'll go Thanos. It's Thanos.
Yeah. Thanos is the only villain, or one of like the few villains where a movie was like, you know what, we're just gonna put our whole focus into the villain. Like Thanos is arguably the protagonist for Infinity War. Mm-hmm. Like it's all about his story, his arc, and everybody else revolves around that, and it's amazing. It is. You know, there's only a few other movies that do that. One of them being the Dark Knight. Christian Bale's Batman doesn't really have an arc, whereas Joker kind of does. Like the movie's all about the Joker. It's one of the greatest movies of all time. Infinity War is one of the greatest superhero movies of all time. Yeah. The only other one I can think of is Shang-Chi, Mandarin.
Yeah.
Tom, the filthy casual, which I actually really like the more casual approach to this, because Marvel MCU in general is more geared towards these fans. Mm-hmm.
So one of my favorite villains in the MCU, it's not so much of the villain himself, it's because of the actor that portrays said villain, is Red Skull.
Oh, okay.
Because I fucking love Hugo Weaving.
Yeah.
He is like the perfect bad guy actor. Mm-hmm. You know, he's Agent Smith.
Yeah, I was just thinking Agent Smith.
You know, and then there's like a ton of other things that he plays like ridiculously good bad guys. And he just takes that charm, that villain charm that he has, and just makes it. Other just like favorite ones, I do like Hela too. I like Thor's my favorite, so I think I like all the Asgardian villains quite a bit. I like the story of Gore a lot, and I do like Christian Bale's portrayal of him. Mm-hmm. I just wish he had more.
He was very underutilized.
Yes. So, but like, just this like dude that finds his like god-killing sword and just goes on a spree of murder.
And arguably so. Like, I don't think anyone blames him for it through like his experience.
Yeah, because the gods basically abandoned him and let his daughter die.
Yeah,
essentially.
Yeah, it's like the gods aren't there for the people. It's like the people above you, or like the beings above you. You know, they're told that, hey, if you worship them, if you praise them, they'll have your back. Mm-hmm. And it didn't. That's not the case. He just laughed. The god, I forget which god it was, just laughed at him, and he got the weapon to kill them all. I wish they would have went more dark into it and showed us more of him just slaughtering gods. Like if he showed up on the Olympic plane where all the gods are and just started murdering all of them, like that would have been just like, damn. But they kind of made him more of a silly, stupid villain almost.
Yeah, it was kind of sad.
I'm just gonna kidnap children. It's like, why? They're all gods. Murder them. Mm-hmm. Ernie would love it.
Yeah.
Like, go Anakin Skywalker on it. But no, he's like, I'm gonna tell you a dark story. Yeah, Gore's a good one. So here's my list. I have Vulture on there as number 1. Kind of similar to you, where it's not so much the villain, it's just the actor. Michael Keaton was amazing. I do not like Vulture as a villain in the comics or in really any of the stories. It's like, hey, this old rich dude decided to get a wingsuit and now he's a villain. It's like, cool. What, like, where's the appeal? The way they wrote the Vulture in this story is very appealing. Just the idea of like an everyday man just trying to get by, and he made a living off of stealing things, and he's just a smaller villain, and like he's doing it. He's like Last of Us, like Joel. He protects his own. He's doing it for his own, and so he's not necessarily an evil or a bad guy. He has his own morals. But at the same time, like, he will go to certain lengths. He will kill Peter Parker. He will kill Spider-Man if he has to. And I just like villains that have a sense of, like, a moral code to them. And also Michael Keaton just portrayed them amazingly.
Yeah. So the Daredevil is part of MCU, right?
He is in the MCU. Technically, Kingpin's a part of it.
I was going to say, Vincent D'Onofrio?
Yeah.
It's Kingpin. Another one of those where, like, he just made that character.
I kind of want to do a Netflix like show or episode based on like the Daredevil, because that show's amazing.
What was the dude? I think he passed away now.
Ray Stevenson?
No, he played Kingpin in the Ben Affleck one.
Oh, yep.
What's his name? He was in the Green Mile.
Yeah, I can't think of his name.
He's got that like ridiculously deep voice.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you're right.
I actually didn't mind him as Kingpin either. He played a pretty good Kingpin.
Yeah.
But that movie was kind of trash.
Yeah, it's kind of trash.
But he played a good Kingpin. Mm-hmm. A believable one.
Kingpin's just... I really like Kingpin as a villain, and I'm happy they got Vincent D'Onofrio coming back. He was in Hawkeye. He wasn't that great in Hawkeye, though. No, it wasn't on him. They played him off as more cartoony, and he like got shot at the end and supposedly killed. It's like he's Kingpin. Like, respect the man. Mm-hmm. Like, he is like the villain of New York. He is the mafia boss. Others that I have on this list: Killmonger. I think his story is great. Michael B. Jordan just portrays him wonderfully.
He does a good job.
I fucking love Michael B. Jordan.
Hey, auntie.
Did
you know that was improv?
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was. When we talk about man crushes, Michael B. Jordan I forget about. I don't know if I mentioned him, but he's on that list. Like, anything he's in, I'm like, I want to watch. Creed, never watched Rocky. I'll watch Creed because he is in it.
They're really good.
Yeah, I haven't watched Creed 2 or 3, but I want to still.
Yeah, they're both good.
My first experience of Michael B. Jordan is Chronicles, and he was one of the 3 people who got like psychic powers, but he like was the film. I forget what Dan O'Han. He plays Goblin in Amazing Spider-Man 2. He was in it, and then a couple other ones. I listed Thanos as one of my favorites just because they put time on him. Mysterio is always one of my favorite Spider-Man villains. Jake Gyllenhaal was great as him. I wish there was a little bit more, but I think for the most part it was everything I wanted out of Mysterio. And Mandarin. I just watched Shang-Chi again because I wanted to do a TikTok video. I'm like, I want to do a little more accurate. I want to have a little more knowledge in my head before talking about it. I forget how much I just love that movie for the fact that like they just build the Mandarin up really, really well.
Is that the same Mandarin from Iron
Man? Yes and no. So, no, because the Mandarin in Iron Man was Aldrich Killian. But he basically used the Mandarin's army and made another division, but just pretended to be that evil company. What's cool about the Mandarin and Shang-Chi, though, is that he is an evil man who met a woman and turned good. But then she died. And so the Dweller in the Darkness is he's a Doctor Strange villain in the comics. He's talking to Mandarin, and so, but he's pretending to be his wife. So Mandarin starts up doing evil things again, because all he wants is his wife back. And I just love that dynamic. He was evil. He turned good. He loses his wife. He wants his wife back, so he turns back to evil to get back his wife who turned him good. And at the end of the story, he still cares about his kids, and he sacrifices himself to save his kid Shang-Chi. And I'm like, I just fucking love that dynamic. He's not necessarily evil, he's selfish. But, like, I don't know, it was a cool dynamic. So he's up there. Honorable mentions. Honorable mentions for top 5. Who would you say, like, instead of favorites, who's, like, the best villains?
Okay.
And I know there might not be a, like, variation.
All right, so ask that one more time.
Who's, like, so we were talking about favorites. Who's, like, the best villains? Like, if you had to rank best villains in the MCU.
Okay. I would go Thanos.
Yep.
Ultron.
Okay.
Kang.
Yep.
Gore.
Okay.
And then my last one, I just like him because it's fun. Zemo.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Tom?
Are we talking best, like most powerful?
Like best as in like just best villains.
Best been portrayed?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Thanos obviously is still number one because
he's number one on my list too.
Yeah.
Most interesting, I should say. Like the villain that you just loved watching.
Okay. I liked Hela. Loki was always fun.
Yep.
Just because his transformation from, kind of bad guy to still bad guy, but good guy.
Yeah.
So Thanos, Hela, Loki. That's about all I can come up with right now,
Okay.
I think.
Here's my list for top 5. Number 1 I have is Thanos, obviously. He might be one of the best villains of all superheroes, outside of maybe Joker and Dark Knight. Number 2 is Killmonger for me. Michael B. Jordan's swag in the role is just great. And arguably, it's like, you know what? He transformed Black Panther. Great villains transforms their heroes, but they do. I really like villains who are like, they have a righteous cause. I agree with them, but they just have more extreme measures, and they teach the hero a lesson. Like, it's great writing. Vulture's number 3. Loki's number 4 for me. And 5, I was debating who I wanted to put in. But I think I put Mandarin for Shang-Chi. I just think he's really well written. Honorable mention, Ultron. He gets a lot of hate. And I think it's because he didn't get set up properly. Because Ultron is just a reflection of Tony Stark. And I wish they would have made it more on the nose that he is Tony Stark. Because people keep expecting, like, this very blank Ultron, but we get this very like charismatic, cartoony villain, which Tony Stark would be if he was a villain. And I'm like, that's a great concept. If only they would just tell people that's what they were going for. That's why sometimes you have to be a little bit on the nose when you're writing. Like you have to like lead your audience to what they should expect. But with that in mind, he's up there in honorable mention. Wow. I wrote OBGLIN, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I meant there. Green Goblin, I think that's what I might be going for, is an honorable mention because he's great in No Way Home. He's also kind of cheat though too, because like he has a whole other movie that he's part of, but it's not MCU, so it's hard to rank him that way. Mysterio, just up there. Zemo, I put Prowler because I like Donald Glover. I'm like, he's not really a villain, but I'll put him. He's an honorable mention. He shows up in Across the Spider-Verse in like a Prowler uniform, and I was just geeking out. Here's one that no one listed, but they listed as variant. He Who Remains. He was in the Loki show. Kang. Okay. A variant of Kang. His performance was just fucking amazing. All right, let's switch it up. Who's the worst villains in the MCU?
Iron Man, Mandarin.
Aldrich Killian? I am the Mandarin. It's like, no, you're Aldrich Killian.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about the actor that portrayed the fake Mandarin, that guy was great.
Ben Kingsley.
Ben Kingsley.
Trevor,
just some drunk that he's like, here, put on a turban and be a terrorist for me or whatever. He's just like slamming Budweisers. I'm just like,
he has like two girls
guy.
on this.
Yeah. This guy's great.
And he's in Shang-Chi too, and he like has a little like butt buddy. And I say butt buddy because it's like a dog, but like instead of having a face and a butt, he has two butts. It's like weirdly cute.
Weird.
And that's he understands it, and he helps them get to where they need to go.
Does Ben Kingsley play the Mandarin in Shang-Chi?
Nice. He doesn't play the Mandarin. He plays Trevor.
Oh, okay.
The fake
Mandarin.
The fake Mandarin. I actually really like Aldrich Killian. I just hate how they set him up. I think he's a good villain. I think he's a good power dynamic because he's not like another Iron Man clone. He's a villain who actually exploits the weakness of the suits, which is like if you can melt the suit, the person dies. Insides probably die. So I have a list of like 7. I'm gonna go out of order of what I've listed. Yellow Jacket. Because he didn't kill Cassie Lang. He had it right there. He just had it boom dead. A little joke for Ernie here. I hate villains who like are corrupt. Instead of just being evil or they just have philosophical differences. Like the whole idea was like he wanted to take the company from Hank and he wanted to use it for evil purposes and share the particles that disrupt the power balances of the world. But instead of like him doing evil things for selfish reasons, he did evil things because the Pym particles made him do it. And I fucking hate those explanations. I don't like Jekyll and Hyde villains. So you said Doc Ock. I love Doc Ock as a villain, but I don't like him as a Jekyll and Hyde villain. Because I want villains who do bad things to like actually be the person who do bad things. Like the Lizard, for example. He's inherently a good person, but then he turns into the reptilian persona and he becomes the Lizard and he's evil now. I don't mind it in a story here and there, but I don't like. There was a trend where that was a thing, especially in the Spider-Man films. Green Goblin, good person, takes the serum, now he's evil. Doc Ock gets the little implant, now he's evil. It's like, no, I want them to have better philosophical differences. Killmonger, Vulture. You understand why they're evil.
No one touched or even talked about this one, but what do you guys think of Obadiah Stane in Iron Man 1?
He's
evil.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's actually going to be on my list, probably.
He served the purpose.
Yeah.
He was an origin film villain.
Yeah.
He was fine. If I had to rate him, he's like maybe a 3 - 2+ area. I can't hate on him, but he's serviceable as a villain.
Oh.
Jeff Bridges is great.
Jeff Bridges was good. That's mainly what I was getting at. He did a really good job with him.
Yeah.
My worst villain, I don't even know his name, who's Mr. like Wingfoot guy from Wakanda Forever. The Aztec god.
Namor?
Yeah.
You didn't like Namor?
No, it was stupid. I didn't like that film in general.
Okay. I know that you meant, yeah. I know we talked about it. Me and Ernie liked it. And you were just like, ugh.
Yeah, no.
I didn't mind Namor. I feel like the philosophy differences, I like what they were going for, but it didn't make sense. Like, why? It's like, I'm going to take on the world, but I'm going to attack Wakanda first. It's kind of like, why? Mm-hmm. It doesn't seem like a smart play. It also doesn't seem like a smart play to attack them in water. But they did. I don't know.
I mean, he's a god. I feel like Gore should just be like, hey, here's this guy's number.
Is he a god?
I mean, he's an Aztec god, isn't he? That's the whole point.
He's god-like, I would say. He's prophet-like. I think if you say he's a prophet, that makes more sense. He's technically a mutant.
Yeah, I suppose.
He is the second mutant in the MCU now. Miss Marvel's the first one. She's technically a mutant. And in the comics, they killed her off and reborn her as a mutant, too. Which, cool, I guess. Inhuman story is hard to, sell. I have Whiplash on there.
Oh, them fighting words for Ernie.
Ernie, do you disagree? Because I think Justin Hammer is arguably a great villain. But I think Whiplash is...
I agree only in the fact that I don't think he was portrayed very well.
Yeah. You don't think he's portrayed well?
No. I think he was more powerful than they gave him credit for. But, I mean... I can get it. I can get that.
I thought he was portrayed great. I just thought they didn't put enough time. And, his revenge... He wanted revenge because his dad died. And his dad, worked for Stark. It was like, okay, give me more. Justin Hammer was more of an exciting, I'm a competitor. I want to be Tony Stark. So I'm going to try to replace him. So I have a couple other ones on there. The Deviant Crow from Eternals.
Uh-huh.
Mostly because, they set him up and then he did shit at the end. It was kind of his whole existence led to nothing.
It's not like the movie itself.
That's the next one I have to make a TikTok video for, and I'm just like, Malekith is another one because he's played so dryly.
Do you feel Grandmaster would count as a villain?
Grandmaster
From Ragnarok?
Ooh, yeah.
I think he's one of my worst villains.
You don't like Grandmaster?
Not really, no.
I love
Jeff Goldblum?
I just couldn't get into it. I mean,
I loved
it's okay. But I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't put him in the villain tier. He is a villain. If you guys would have said, if you would have put him in, I'd be like, okay, yeah, he counts. I don't know. I thought he was great for what his role was. I have Malekith because, in the comics, he's so charismatic. He's more joyful. And this one, he's just like, I want everything to be dark. So we're going to make it dark now. It's like, what? Okay. I'm going to say one more, and then I'm going to take a quick break because coffee's getting to me. Taskmaster. Black Widow. Taskmaster is kind of like Deadpool, but in the aspect of he mimics everybody's abilities. So he's just a very pleasing villain because he's Captain, in this movie, he was Captain America, he was Hawkeye, he portrayed all these different powers. But he brags about it in the comics. He brags about it in the video games. He's like, I am more powerful. You can't beat me. I know all your moves. He's cocky. And Black Widow, I don't care that they made Taskmaster a female. What I hated, though, was that they made her essentially a mute. And more she just didn't speak. She could speak, but she didn't. She was very just an ominous figure like Winter Soldier, which is fine. Winter Soldier, that's who Winter Soldier is. But I'm like, that's not who Taskmaster is. Taskmaster is bragging. He's being cocky. And if it's a she, works perfectly great. But just a mindless villain coming after you, not exciting. It's really sad.
I think one of the most wasted talents for a MCU villain that they should have done so much more is they wasted Mads Mikkelsen as Caecilius so much. Mads is such a good actor.
I agree. Let's get back to it. I gotta take a quick break and we'll talk about Mads Mikkelsen because I have thoughts on that as well. He's a great actor. We back again. Mads Mikkelsen, Caecilius.
Yeah.
I agree. Because when I heard Matt Mickelson was going to be in Doctor Strange, I was excited. I thought he was going to play Baron Mordo.
Yeah, that's what everyone said he should have played.
He fits that role perfectly. And I don't know the actor who plays Carl Mordo. I think he plays great. And if they would have took the time to make him a villain, he would have been great in that role. But Matt Mickelson deserves to be like a great villain in the MCU. Mm-hmm. And that's what I hate, like when actors play like certain characters. I'm like, no, you should be like a bigger character than what you are, because like you have so much talent.
Yeah, he should have been a main villain.
He should have been, like even if he was Dormammu. Even though Benedict Cumberbatch also played Dormammu technically. Who would Matt Mickelson would be a good villain to play?
He would make a good Gore. Also,
ooh,
he would make a very creepy Gore.
He would make
just his like voice and like his like that wicked like natural scar that he has on his face. Dude looks like he's seen some shit.
I'm trying to look at the list of like I'm gonna look at the villains that like Doctor Doom. I think he would have been a good Doctor Doom. Green Goblin.
Yeah, I could pull that off.
I don't know if he's the best choice, but I'm like, he would work. Galactus, maybe. I'm going through the list. I don't know. Dracula. With the Blade movie.
Oh, yeah.
Caecilius, when I heard he was playing Caecilius, and I'm like, who's that? Why is he playing him? He was good. He was fine in the role, but he like that character didn't need a whole lot of like nuance. And Matt Mickelson's great with the nuance. So,
yeah, he needs to be the main villain. He needs to be like he was in Casino Royale. He's the main Bond villain. He's
so good in Casino Royale. Yeah. I really want to do at one point a state review for James Bond films, but that's going to take like a year. It's like what, 26, 27? Mm-hmm. Like they even do Daniel Craig. I have to do 2 parts for that one. Mm-hmm. I wanted to do like a marathon of it, and I made it like 4 or 5 movies in. Yeah, could not do it.
There's really, a lot of movies.
Like watching Dr. No, it's hard.
Some of the older ones are pretty hard cheese.
It's so bad. And then I'm like, I'll just watch Austin Powers because they just went hard into the cheese.
It's essentially this is essentially Dr. No.
Yeah. All right. So who else fits that role of like great actor, small villain, should have played a bigger part? I'm going to go back to my list. I mean, Gore is up there. Christian Bale.
Yeah, he was definitely underutilized.
Mm-hmm.
Because Christian Bale is a good actor.
Ooh, another list. We technically mentioned him. Not Malekith. MODOK. In Ant-Man. Yeah. MODOK is such an interesting character. And I don't hate his portrayal in Ant-Man. It just was made to be like a joke. And I'm like, it should have been more serious.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm trying to go through the list of like villains that just disappointed. Zemo should have got a little more screen time as a physical threat, but seeing him in Winter Soldier was great.
I loved him in it because like he was just working behind the scenes. Like,
yeah,
he was just plotting the whole movie.
Puppet master.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm like trying to go through all the villains.
Hugo Weaving was underutilized.
Yeah, but he also hated that. He did not enjoy his role. Oh, okay. Which is why Red Skull didn't come back. Yeah. Red Skull did come back, but like, I forget, Aaron Ross, I believe, is the actor who replaced Hugo Weaving. Hugo Weaving wasn't coming back.
He wasn't all fine with the red prosthetics.
No, not at all. And also, I think he just hated working with Marvel and stuff. Which was sad because I'm like, he was so good in his role. I think Aaron Ross did a good job replacing him. But Red Skull would be cool to go back. Maybe that's the question we need to ask. What villains do you want to see like redo? Either redo or come back. I do have a list of that as well. So, I'll let you guys think, but I'll go through my list a little bit. Taskmaster needs to be redone. Even if it's a completely new version, or like the actress who plays, like if she comes back, but just in more classic Taskmaster fashion. MODOK for sure. Malekith would be a great villain if he was done properly. I want to see Justin Hammer again.
You love using Justin Hammer.
He's so... Was it Sam Worthington who plays him? Mm-hmm. Was great. He's a great villain.
He is. He's very good.
I'm trying to think who else.
That need to be redone or just given another chance?
Given another chance. Redone, give it another chance. We would like to see again. Gore.
Gore would be a good one. Christian Bale's Gore. I'd love to see more Jeff Bridges.
Oh, yeah. Up that stand.
With, not so much just origin movie villain, generic baddie.
Agreed. Hela.
We need more Hela in our life.
Hela. Ultron.
Yeah. I like Ultron.
Yeah, I would love to see him do it again. I think they did okay with him the first go. But...
Ultron's always a villain that just comes back.
True.
You could never kill Ultron. So I would love to see Ultron again. Whiplash, I would like to just see like another version. I forget the actor who plays him. Danny Trejo, I believe.
No, Mickey Rourke.
Mickey Rourke, yep. Like, he's a great actor. I want to see him like actually be written well into a story. Like Armor Wars is coming out with Don Cheadle and War Machine. Mm-hmm. Bring him back. And Justin Hammer would be cool too. But actually written well. Even though if they do come back written in the show, it's probably not being written well because that's where my faith is at this point. Malekith. Kingpin.
Ah, yeah.
He is coming back.
Oh, guy from Black Panther, missing the arm.
Claw.
Yes, Claw.
Ooh, yes, we didn't. Ooh, Andy Serkis's Claw. Mm-hmm. Him getting killed was a tragedy because he was great.
Yes.
He was a villain that I was excited for. Black Panther. He essentially was the main villain.
Yeah, he's one of Black
in the
Panther's,
comics.
Yeah.
He's like the main adversary. So him getting killed off was like, what?
Very.
But I will say, Killmonger probably just took that role because, goddamn, Michael B. Jordan. All right, I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. Villains that we are excited to see. And after this, we'll go into creating our own story idea villains. And we don't have much longer because we got to keep this under 2 hours. I am at a max for 2 if we want to put this on YouTube. We're at 1:38.
You want to go first?
I don't even know who they're teasing nowadays.
Kang is like the big one that they're teasing. I'm trying to think. Who did they tease?
I don't know.
It's been a while.
I don't know. To be honest with you.
Who's the next big universal threat in Marvel after Thanos? We need a Thanos 2.0. Galactus, yeah.
Yep, Galactus, Apocalypse if we go X-Men route. Magneto as well.
Dark Avengers, Doctor Doom.
So here's my list that I have. I have 18, but technically there's some in different categories. I don't know why I put Kraven number 1 because he was supposed to be the villain for No Way Home, but then they switched it to be more of a multiverse story. Doctor Doom is the main villain that I am waiting for. He is arguably the best villain in the MCU because he's not evil, but he will do evil things. Wants to be in control. He wants to have power. He can hit you with technology, but he's also a sorcerer at the same time. Mm-hmm. In the comics, he does take over for Iron Man when Iron Man dies in the comics. And he becomes the next Iron Man. Because this is after the point where he was already a god and took over the world. And was the ruler of the universe. And he was I'm at a point where I've done everything. Now I'm going to be a good guy. Doom is just interesting where he's more he's fulfilling a self-fulfilling purpose. Mm-hmm. And he works for he's a Fantastic Four villain, but he's a villain for everybody. He's a villain for Spider-Man, even. I have Venom on there. who technically is in the MCU. He's just not a villain. So if this was a hero one, and Tom, you're just like, I'm going to put Venom on here. It technically works. It's exciting though. So yeah, when we do our heroes draft, whenever that is, maybe the goal is to protect Cassie Lang.
Okay. That should be fun too.
Yeah, Venom will be there. All the villains that are in No Way Home. So, Doc Ock, Green Goblin, Electro, Sandman, the MCU versions of them I have on that list. Galactus, Mephisto, because he was rumored to be in WandaVision and all these different things. It's Mephisto. Mm-hmm. That was like for the longest time. It's like watching WandaVision, all the conspiracy channels. Mephisto was in there.
Just Satan.
Yeah, basically, he's MCU Satan. Nightmare, because he was supposed to be in the last Doctor Strange. Mordo, coming back to be an actual villain, but apparently he was a villain off screen. Mangog for Thor. He's probably the next strongest one that can kill Thor. Taika Waititi said he wouldn't do another Thor unless there's a villain stronger than Hela. I'm like, well, Mangog's close. But also, you had Gore, and you wasted him. So, yeah. Bullseye for Daredevil. I love me some Bullseye. He was great in the Netflix show. Colin Farrell was funny.
He was
hilarious.
He was a crackhead.
But, like, I just love Bullseye. He would be a great mercenary. Magneto, Apocalypse, Carnage, Mr. Sinister, Hobgoblin, Fin Fang Foom, who should have been just Shang-Chi. Like, you had your moment to release him into the world. Sentry / Void, who's like a Superman character who has like darkness inside of him. And then Dracula for Blade. And that's my list.
They need more Blade.
He's coming, yeah.
Can't wait for
Yeah.
it.
Yep. He hasn't technically made a visual appearance, but he made an audio appearance at the end of Eternals.
Okay.
He told Kit Harington's character, the Black Knight, essentially just Jon Snow. He's like, I wouldn't do that if I were you. And I'm like, who the fuck is that? And I'm like, oh, it's Marshall Ali.
Wesley Snipes not reprising his role.
He wanted to, but Wesley Snipes doesn't seem like the most
He's kind of
little out there.
I would love to see a cameo.
Mm.
He's also getting old.
Yes.
Yeah, that too. All right. You guys ready for a little story creating?
Yeah.
Or are we too tired for story creating?
I'm good.
Let's go.
All right. We're going to make our own villain.
Mm.
And I need to somehow make the context of the world in 17 minutes while talking about villain ideas. So the story that I have is a world where the emperor, who's mysterious, who controls through harsh means, he decided to say there's 32 states in this country. And he goes to these 32 states, hey, I'm sick of being in power. I want all the individual states to fight, and whoever wins the giant war will rule the land. So there's 32 warlords. And I think it'd be cool to make a villain for this world, for this story. And this is where the specials come in. And we can talk like what characters you guys want to be, because I don't know who I want to be, like which character I want to voice, but I thought of you guys.
Okay.
And that's if me and you were going to do our own episode, we were going to be character building for this. But since this is the villains episode, I want to talk about what villains would you guys want to make? Or what villains would be cool for the story?
Like, which one of the villains we just talked about would be good for the story, or just like creating a villain arc?
Yeah, villain arc, a type of villain that we like to see.
Dark and violent.
Dark and violent.
So I'm going to build on that. I want to see a dark and violent Batman.
Okay.
So a vigilante.
Yeah.
So I would love to see this because this was always really good. There was one of the Primarch novels in 40K was Conrad Kurz. And he had this, he landed on a planet that was just like a pure evil, like a Gotham, you know, but like a Gotham on crack, right?
Yeah.
And the way he thought, like he was completely law-abiding, whereas he would punish everybody for every crime that they did, but he would punish everybody in the exact same way for no matter what the crime was. So if you spit on the ground or you murdered somebody, he still would come and like skin you and leave your body there for everybody else to see.
Yeah.
And he was called the Night Haunter.
Okay.
So just this like, not even really that present of a villain, but just like, you know, if you do anything bad, the Night Haunter's coming for you.
I like that. So what I wrote here for like different ideas, like the villain could be, because the heroes that I'm building the team, the 7, with like the specials, and that there's not going to be any of that in the world. But the idea is like there's 7 unique individuals who's essentially fighting back the idea of like all these states are going to war, and they're fighting that idea. They're trying to create normalcy along the land. And so I'm thinking like what could be cool villains for the story, right? There could be warlords, generals. But the last thing I wrote is antagonists with similar goals. And that fits that category.
Yeah.
Where I'm thinking of like a vigilante who agrees with them, but does so in a lot more violent ways. Is that where we're...
Yeah. And somebody that, yeah, just think so.
And I actually have a town. So I kind of use the same map for a lot of different story ideas because I built the world. And I have a kind of a drawing of the map. I need like an official like drawing for it. But there is a world. It's called, I think I've called it Doomport. That's a lot like Gotham.
Okay.
Where the way the mountains, so it's a coastal city where there's like levels on the mountain. So the elites are like all the way up in the mountains. And like the poor people are like where the port is, essentially. And the mountain kind of casts a shadow, usually from the sun. And there's like islands too that just kind of cast these mountains, so it's usually always dark. And like I can imagine like the this villain or antagonist, this vigilante being a part of it, and essentially as being this world's like Batman.
Okay, you just literally described that entire backstory.
Did I?
Nostromo is a hive city.
Okay.
So it's basically, it builds, like, it looks like a mountain.
Yeah.
But it's just a city. So the city is the mountain, but, like, at the base, in, like, the underhive, is where, like, the scum and the poor live. And the higher up you get on the hive city, the richer you get.
God damn it.
Nostromo, the planet that he's on,
Yeah.
is cast in eternal darkness.
Okay.
Because of the way like the moons or the suns,
Yeah.
something with it where just it like the rotation speed is always the same, so you're always in darkness.
Okay.
Which is hilarious. I love it.
See, I was not copying, but I was kind of like basing the idea around Invincible's version of Batman,
Sure.
Darkwing, where like somebody casted a spell where like literally there was a trailer for it too that for season 2. That shows the bubble, the night bubble that's around the city. Mm-hmm. And there's like the Darkwing, that universe's version of Batman is in it. And he's kind of like, So it's kind of like not copying, but kind of basing around it. And I think there's still daytime, but just the way the mountains work and the sun works, it's mostly dark.
All the time.
Yeah. But there's like noon where the sun is above. It's day. But in the more it takes, yeah.
Okay.
So that'd be a cool locale for it. But I like that villain. So what's his motivation?
Order.
Order?
Yeah. And yeah, just a strange sense of order. Like order through brutality.
Okay. What's his specials?
Yeah, what was his weapons there?
Well, he was like sneaky. And, well, charisma would probably be one of them, because charismas can be taken 2 ways.
Yeah.
Charisma can be terrifying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think charisma would probably be his biggest one. And then agility? I forget what sneak is for special.
It might be agility. So he has similar goals and wants to like. My thinking is he has similar goals and he wants the heroes to like abide by them, but he has such extreme tendencies that it's hard to like. He's killing he's killing anyone who's even like,
remotely breaking the order.
Yeah, or not breaking the order, but like, hey, I'm showing national pride for my state. I want us to win the Great War. Mm-hmm. He's like, oh yeah, no, you're.
Yeah, he wants order where he doesn't want the war to happen.
Yeah,
and so he just is ruthlessly killing anybody that is breaking that order to him.
And I really like the fact that he's charismatic because I'm thinking like the main character, like the leader of sorts of the group, is the charismatic person. Like,
I don't know if he'd necessarily be a leader though. Like his charisma is fear.
Yeah, he's not a leader, but I'm saying like he's a good. The group's leader is probably like the charisma person, and he would be a good like. I'm trying to think of the word. It starts with an F. It's on the tip of the tongue. I hate when this happens. He's like a good reverse. Like he's the
antithesis of
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the word, not flank. But like, he's there Killmonger to Black Panther almost. But not necessarily in like a skills aspect, but more of like a philosophy and leadership. Mm-hmm. He's a good reflection villain. So we don't have much more time. All right. Tom, thank you for the idea. Ernie, what villain do you want to see? If you can make it brief.
Just to build on that, like I said, dark and edgy. Like I want to see like a real like just dark villain with a dark past that will actually do like dark stuff. Like,
I mean, we have warlords and generals.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, like, actually, he put it very well. Like, I would love to see like a vigilante, like Batman kind of style, kind of like that.
All right,
really dark.
So, since we don't have much more time, I want you guys on the show when we make this a thing. I don't know when I'm going to do it. I don't even know if we have the capability of doing it, but I think it'd be fun. I like writing dialogue, and mostly it's going to be dialogue. Mm-hmm. What characters are you guys interested in playing? If you're going to be part of the main group.
I'd be like the fun, joking character.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, go in depth with more of what you're trying to look for, I guess.
Yeah, so, I'm guessing you haven't played Fallout 4 yet?
No.
That's all right. I made a reference when we were doing we were talking about Fenway, and I'm like, you guys play Fallout 4? I'm like, why the fuck are you guys talking about, why are you talking about Fallout 4? I'm like, why are you guys talking about baseball on a football podcast? Either way. But what I'm looking for is there's strength, there's perception, there's agility, there's endurance, there's intelligence, there's luck. What am I missing? Charisma. Each character is going to have a strength in that regard, and they're going to have like a mystery sub-strength. Mm-hmm. Which character would you want to portray? Or even in a villain capacity, who would you want to portray?
Definitely charisma. Sure. I would like to be a charismatic kind of villain.
Yeah. Well, this is protagonist.
Yeah, protagonist. Sorry.
All right. Do you have the voice acting chops to be charismatic?
Sure. Yeah.
I think I can see it. You usually just calm demeanor, though.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you
that would be the charismatic part, though. Just very calm and just very direct and.
What do you think, Tom?
I want to play the lucky character.
Okay.
So I feel like he could be funny.
Yeah. He would be. He's the one character I have written.
Okay.
And I just love the concept of like he's so traumatized that he thinks everything, like good things has to happen to him because he's so traumatized. And he comes across as like nonchalant, doesn't care, carefree, but it's like the opposite.
I also wouldn't mind playing the endurance character because for some reason I see the endurance character. I think of him like a tank, like the main tank, in video games or whatever. I don't know if you guys play RPGs or whatever.
Yep.
But like the endurance character, I imagine being like the dad of the group.
Okay.
Because he's the one up front taking all the hits to make sure everybody else is good. So I think I could play a dad character.
I'm making sure there's 2 females in the group. This to even it out.
Sure.
Because I'm like, there's a lot of people I would want to put on the show. They're mostly males. Yeah. I don't know who I want to play yet. I was thinking Lucky. I was thinking charismatic. But I'm like, I don't know. I feel it's hard. I was imagining intelligence for you. Because I feel like you could have pull out the voice chops. I was thinking either strength or endurance for you. But I don't know. I feel like there's going to be a lot of testing before we even figure out role like casting.
Yeah, I mean, I could do... Yeah, I don't know. Could also do charisma. Charisma, intelligence, or endurance would be my choice.
And we can also do multiple characters. So if you guys want to go on your villain side, oh yeah.
Nice.
All right. So we're definitely at the 2-minute mark. Thank you guys for checking out Don't Evolve Me, the villain episode, the Marvel villain episode. I hope you had a great time. I surely did.
Can we get one more muhaha?
Oh yeah, but you got it.
This is going to be our set. All right. Please check out Don't Evolve Me. Please check out the TikTok or the Facebook. You can find us anywhere, even Twitter. I got to do Twitter. Well, X.
X.
You know what? Fuck Twitter. All right. Let's do one more haha to send it off. Should I lead or you guys?
I mean, you're the leader.
All right. See you guys.
That was turning into Dr. Evil.